So I walk into the Philadelphia Art Museum and I take a picture of the eyes of this lady here in metal. This lady comes up to me and she says, "Do you know the story of this woman?" I said, "No, I do not." She started telling me that ballerinas back then had a specific role. That's how she explained it. And when she wasn't of use for that role, she took on the job of her mother, one of the oldest jobs in the book for women. That is the way she explained it. Then she takes us to another painting and she says, "Do you notice something about this painting?" I said, "No, other than the fact that there's one man." And she says, "Well, what is that man looking at?" I said, "Well, he's looking at the ballerinas." She tells me, "What does that say about the painting?" And then she says, "That's what I mean by this lady here in metal." She goes on to talk about the sculpture, and she said that it really is telling of what this artist thought. The woman is caged in that block. You don't see her body. She's just trapped. And it was a woman painter who actually did that, who actually came up with that concept, and a man stole her artwork. But that's usually how the story goes, right? When people ask why aren't there women artists, the true questions should be, why aren't there any mentioned? You know, when you come in with a new lens, because usually I would come in with the lens of aesthetics, like, oh, this is so aesthetically pleasing, this makes me feel happy or sad. But when you go in with the lens of like, well, what are they really feeling? Instead of what am I feeling, what is the painting trying to portray? What was the painter thinking when they made this painting? What do the eyes say?
I'm feeling great.
Today I'm feeling pretty good, actually.
I feel blessed to be here.
My day's been real good.
I'm good, man. I'm alive. I'm off work. And I'm with my family, so I'm doing pretty good.
I feel fantastic. Any day above ground is a good day.
Okay, any stories about my personal life or about eyes in particular?
Well, during the pandemic, when everyone had their masks on, I could tell who people were in the grocery store because I could recognize their eyes.
I don't know if there's so much as a story, but something that always keeps happening to me. You know, you get those government documents that you have to fill out, and sometimes they ask for eye color. You know, if you, I don't know, like driver's license or something.
Yeah.
I never know my eye color. I always have to ask other people. And they always have to do that really like awkward stare into your soul for a second. Your eyes are brown.
I've always believed that the eyes are a gateway to the soul.
No, only story I like to tell is that I feel good about being 71 years old, because in my 30s, I didn't think I'd make 70. And the Lord's willing, I'll be 72 May 22nd. So I feel good about that part.
Yeah, I do have a story. I grew up in Philadelphia, which is in Southwest. I graduated from North Penn High School.
Because I feel like it's almost like being naked. It's very vulnerable.
Basically, a story that I could share with y'all is I lost my mom and my dad within the last 2 years. The best thing I can say for people that come from like if you come from a lower lifestyle, like not saying like you didn't have it all, don't always go off of emotion. Turn things into something positive. Do something more positive. You know, just to like change your life. And I know it's like dealing with death is hard. So it's like for me to sit down and express myself right now, this has been the first time I literally, somebody outside of my family to, you know, tell my story, how I really feel.
And so like from the pandemic, I feel like people have learned how to either make better eye contact because that's all you can focus on. You can't read lips. And I think eye contact, when you make eye contact with people, it's like an invitation.
Well, all I'm saying is don't move off of emotion and make smart decisions if you take a loss. Like,
I'm an artist, I'm a musician, and right now I'm in that come up stage. So, you know, I have a job, but at the same time I'm very active in music, and so my story's still being written, but I've done some pretty cool things with some cool people already, and it's like just to see myself come from like only it being a dream at one point to like now I'm like sitting in the same room as some of my like music like idols. It's like it's life changing.
I think it doesn't.
Well, I mean, it depends if you're talking about the physical mind or more like a soul type of ethereal.
I think the mind stays awake forever.
I don't think the mind still.
just rest.
Once we die, I believe we transition.
I think it doesn't. I think after we die, well, I'm a Christian, so as soon as I die, my spirit goes not with my body. So I guess that maybe my mind, I don't know what the spirit is really, so.
I mean, I don't really know what happens after we die, to be honest, because I'm, so in terms of a more soul thing, I would describe myself as an agnostic. I grew up Jewish. I consider myself culturally Jewish, but I'm not particularly invested in the religious aspect as much. I don't consider myself a believer of the Abrahamic God or whatever. But I don't know, in terms of after we die, I hope that there's something. I think that it probably is something that's much more complicated than any of us could even conceive of. You know, it's like, the way I think of it, it's like if you tell a dog that we're going to France, you know, you could say the words all you want, but the dog's not really going to understand what that means. Even if you show the dog pictures of France, the dog's not going to understand that it's another country, that you would have to fly over there, that there's a different geopolitical history. And so I feel like we are the dog in this metaphor, that if there is something, it's something our minds just couldn't even conceive of, or we're just not smart enough. In terms of the physical mind, I don't know. I guess that varies. If you get shot in the head, I don't imagine it stays awake for very long, but maybe if you're in a coma or something, or you kind of die more slowly, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. I've heard horror stories of people in comas that they're actually awake during their coma, some of them, and I can't think of anything worse.
At the end of the day, I think that, yeah, when you transition, it's either heaven, hell. That's what I was taught, you know, growing up. But I do believe that I've experienced, unfortunately, people passing, and I think what I saw was always peace at the end of the day, and that always like made me feel good. But yeah, I think the brain probably. I mean, I don't know how long it stays intact. I'd have to say probably minutes, if anything, like maybe 10, maybe less. I don't know. I've never been asked that question before. That's interesting.
I think after you pass, everything is really gone. You know, and I might be incorrect, but I don't think that your mind stayed alive when you pass. You know, I think when you pass, you pass. But I also believe in reincarnation, where somebody in your family or another person take on a lot of your attributes.
I can't really, I never died, so you know what I mean? So it's like, you don't know until it happens. It's like, what if everybody death not the same? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know, I heard some people died and came back. You know what I mean? So, me, I just feel as though, like, just laid to rest. Like, that's just really what it is.
I think the mind stays awake forever because I'm spiritual. I grew up Christian, and I stepped away from religion and just focused more on my relationship with God. So I believe that the mind never dies. We're always a conscious. We're always a spirit. So I think that we just continue to evolve in whatever space we're in, which is like an infinite space. I personally had a life-death experience when I was 17 and had a failed suicide attempt. So I know what it feels like to be in like a outer body experience. It's like your mind is still there. The mind never dies. The spirit never dies, but the body, I believe, is just a vessel, you know, while we're here. And that's why when people pass away, I believe that they're still with us. I believe that they can intercede, you know, for us. And I believe that when we speak to them, they hear us.
So my Instagram is Big State, BIGSTATE 75. And my YouTube is also just Big State.